Why does the DLC release one day after? It doesn't. That is not correct. The Champions of Chaos is releasing today with everything else. Everything's releasing today, guys. Champions of Chaos, Blood for the Blood God 3. Yeah, sure, whatever. Blood for the Blood God 3 and Immortal Empires are all dropping at the exact same time. Yeah, whatever, I don't care. Do I think they'll add the Dragon Emperor himself? No. Dragon Emperor is too big. That's too big. That'd be like adding an actual playable god. He's a little too thick. All right, you are gonna go after Village. Make me proud. I don't know. His army's looking a little scary. He'll be all right. And Nakai, I want you to just take it easy until your disease goes away. That was a very nasty disease. He's got eggs like everywhere. Sucks, because egg is like the one disease I really don't want. It hurts.
Mo Addicted cheered. X100. Aren't Wood Elf Goat Boy and his wife technically playable gods too?
Nah, they're more akin to demigods. But they do not actually like have the full power of their deific might behind them. They have a lot of their power, but Aisha's power is split between Aisha's power is split between the Everqueen and Ariel, and Orion's power is kind of spread all over the place, but like they're more like avatars.
Or Dragon Emperor or the Moon Empress?
Nagash I think you are very, very likely going to see, but the Dragon Emperor and the Moon Empress are a very different proposition. They're just too big. They're very, very, very big characters. Like, do I think you're gonna see more of the Dragon Children? Yes, the Dragon Children are where we're kind of at in Warhammer. The Dragon Emperor himself is like he's that kind of character you kind of have in the background who's doing really big important shit, and you like hear little whispers about what he's doing, but you would never see him as playable in any game. He's just too fat. Just too fat. Let's see. Have we moved everyone? Yeah, okay, we just moved him. We just moved Gorok. Yeah, okay, so we're done there. And then Nakai is healing this turn. Peasant! I don't know, we might actually be able to take Shattered Stone Bay. I mean, I'm already sick, so I can't get sick again, right? Sure, I'll fight it. Oh, codename. Sorry to hear that, dude. Hope you feel better soon. Morathi and Malekith versus Ariel and Orion. That would be a pretty even fight. That would be a pretty even fight. Morathi and Malekith would definitely be at a disadvantage when it came to like combat potential. But with them both being powerful sorcerers, able to go up against Ariel, that would be a very interesting showdown. I do think Orion would be very problematic for the two of them, more than Ariel would, but yeah, I mean, that'd get pretty interesting.
Holy Artist 95 cheered. X100. It isn't Nagash the actual god of death, so when we add him, your argument about the YN too big character will be invalid.
No. Nagash is not the god of death in fantasy. In Age of Sigmar, yes, Nagash is the god of death. In Warhammer Fantasy, Nagash is the great necromancer. Like, he's powerful. He's very powerful. But presumably, if you play a Nagash campaign, he's going to start off significantly weaker, and you will, over the course of the campaign, very, very slowly build him back up to like him at the height of his power. And like at the absolute height of his power, yeah, sure, like he's pretty terrifying. But no, he is not the god of death in Warhammer Fantasy. He's just a big scary he's a big scary wizard. But he is by no means a god. Nagash has achieved god levels of power, but he's only done that once in Warhammer Fantasy's history. And he had to do a shitload of prep time to do that. Like saying, is Nagash a god? That's like asking if Batman's a god because Batman beat Superman, right? It's like, well, no, like, I mean, if you really wanted to get specific about it, I guess you could argue that Superman is capable of like god level feats, or Batman, but that does not make Batman a god. It's just Batman has, when he has prep time, he can do some pretty hilarious shit. Nagash is the exact same. If Nagash has prep time, he can build up to do crazy bullshit. Obsidian Phoenix, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Red Host. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you for being here. Honestly, I honestly am kind of thinking that Nakai, like from a pure, like in battles, once Nakai has his army abilities, I think he may actually be one of the strongest factions in the game. Not even kidding. Because these army abilities are just obscenely powerful. You gotta work for it, like you gotta earn it. But once you have them, like he's kind of fucking unstoppable. Like he gets what? He gets 8 free unit summons on top of 3 uses of an ability that make a unit completely invulnerable for a minute. And he can summon tornadoes that, although they're random as fuck, they like are very persistent and will just like wipe, like they actually do very, very high armor piercing damage. Like he's fucking nuts, dude. Darkok 8, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Thank you. Nagash is Batman? No, Eltharion is Batman. Nagash just has prep power like Batman. Hopefully that makes sense though. All right, okay, my theory was correct. That did not extend our illness. So that was worth doing. All right, we're gonna keep going after Nurgle with Nakai. We're gonna go after Village with the Gotrek cosplayer. Tic Tac Croc is heading for Central Lustria. Gelman Horst, we're going to keep pursuing Rakarth with. Well, actually, no, we'll probably just have him cut in from this side. Gorok, and then Gorok will defend the center.
Grum is like Clayface and Eltharion is Batman.
What? Sotek, I'm doing a Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Ed game, and my players are heading to Ulthuan. Any cool adventure? Oh, dude. Oh my god, there's so many cool things to do in Ulthuan. I mean, if you want them to have to like deal with high elves kind of in a fun way and kind of be like avoiding things, Ulthuan has a pretty interesting policy where generally speaking, outsiders, so non-elves, are not allowed anywhere in Ulthuan outside of Lothern. Lothern is kind of like the diplomatic neutral zone, but non-elves are not supposed to go beyond Lothern. So you could kind of have a fun thing about your players, potentially maybe trying to sneak out of Lothern or trying to earn the favor of a notable enough prince within Ulthuan that they're able to get, you know, an exception. That way they're able to go on their quest or whatever it is they're up to. Beyond that, the Anuli Mountains are a really, really exciting place for adventures, or just being anywhere near them.
Adventures cheered. X100. I would say Alathanar is more Batman Specali in the second Sundering book, well more like Batman the Green Knight, a Batman that uses guns and kills.
Yeah, he's the movie Batman. But the Anuli Mountains, so like the Winds of Magic literally scrape across the Anuli Mountains, and it's that mountain range that like cuts Ulthuan from the inner kingdoms to the outer kingdoms. And the Anuli Mountains are full of all sorts of big terrifying monsters. So like really, really easy to have like some big bad like a Hydra or a Manticore, or a pissed off Griffin, or a heavily mutated creature comes stomping down to just ruin their day or give them a really spooky boss fight. Like the elves have to constantly be on guard about those monsters coming down and potentially attacking them. So like your players could get involved in a monster hunt, or maybe they're caught up in it, or maybe like they're being pursued by it and they've got to like make their way to a patrol, or maybe they find a slaughtered patrol and they got to decide, are they going to hunt the monsters themselves or fall back to try and find help? There's so much cool shit going on in Ulthuan. You know, if they want to impress Cracians, you could have them end up in Crace and they could like try and perform the white lion ritual, where they have to hunt down a white lion, like an actual war lion, by themselves, though I'm sure they'd make an exception for them and let them go as a group. But they're supposed to do it with their nothing more than a huntsman axe or like a very basic tool or weapon. So that could be fun. I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Ulthuan's a fun place. You could also have them deal with the cults of pleasure. Even today, Ulthuan still struggles trying to locate and get rid of any cults that worship the darker gods, like Authority, for instance. The goddess of pleasure, who is not supposed to be openly worshipped in Ulthuan. And she's only supposed to be worshipped at most in moderation for very specific ceremonies and stuff like that. So you could have them maybe like stumbling upon a cult and trying to have to like prove that. Or that you could have them dealing with swordmasters, because swordmasters of Hoeth are actually the secret police of Ulthuan. They're responsible for like keeping the cults in check and going after them and fighting them and all this other stuff. There's a lot of cool shit. One hour and 34 minutes. What mod am I using to clear all the fog? I have no mods on. There is 0 mods on right now. Any clearing of fog is just because I am there or a faction that I am friends with is there. I'm returning these lands to the Lizardmen, where they belong.
I'll trade the pus from you.
Oh, did Village... Wait, did Village die? Oh, no, there he is. Wait, no, that's not Village. That's just some random dude, I think. Whatever. Oh, yeah, I should go after him. He's actually blowing stuff up. After him! Be gone! Debunked! Ah! Man, I have found so many sacred stegodon helms. Not that I'm complaining, it's a great item. Alright, he's gonna be hitting this area, and we'll can sight down this way, so I'm gonna head for Waddle. There. We're nearly there. We're banishing all these annoying humans from our shores, so that's always good. And it's just like constantly under attack. My lord. Like, I can't even send Gorok around to like go focus on something else because he's just constantly having to protect this place from getting splatted. Arcane Conduit, very nice. Let's go ahead and get Jurisdiction of Beasts so I can get the bonus campaign movement. And then
I can visualize it.
still working on the sequence of unification. All right. I think we've done everything we need to do. Wait, where's this guy? Silson. Where's that? Your job is to kill him. No. Make your way down here. Let's check our items. Got the second on War Spear, that's right. Which I will eventually put on someone. Okay, we got some new armor we can fuse to get a goddamn Trickster Shard. I do not like the Trickster Shard. I do not. Okay, it's fine. Gorok having to constantly protect its it is his typical. It is his typical Tuesday. That is definitely true. A Dawi fact? Let's see. What's a good Dawi fact? An interesting fact about the dwarfs that I think might surprise some people is, did you know that the first ever slayers, right? So slayers, dwarfs that have been so horribly shamed that they fully embrace, they basically ritualistically, they perform a ritual where they basically count themselves as being dead for all intents and purposes, and proceed to, they dye their hair red and they take a whole death oath and all that other crap. But did you know that there's actually a very large portion of history for the dwarfs where slayers did not exist? Like, culturally the concept existed because it's based on the kind of like the final crusade that Grimnir took, one of the dwarven ancestor gods, where Grimnir basically swore to march out against the forces of chaos, and he kind of knew that it's kind of one of those kinds of fights that you don't really get to walk away from. There's really no going home. It's a one-way trip. But the idea of like becoming a slayer, like for regular dwarfs, was very, very, very not really a thing for thousands of years. It was actually so, and I think that a lot of people, when they hear a slayer, they're like, "Oh, what caused the first slayers? Oh, it must have been greenskins, or it must have been Skaven, or it must have been something else." No, actually, The first instance from some records that we have noted in a particular series is that the first slayers were actually a response to the elves. It was actually the dwarf ambassadors that went to Ulthuan because they were sent there by High King Gotrek Starbreaker to negotiate or to deliver terms to the Phoenix King Kalidor II, because the elves, the High Elves, had unknowingly essentially been framed by the Dark Elves to make it look like the High Elves were raiding and attacking dwarf caravans and like murdering traders and stealing their goods. But of course, instead of, you know, denying it and being like, oh, Kalidor II was a piece of shit. There's no other way to say it. He was a massive piece of shit. But instead of being like, oh man, we never would have done that. That sounds awful. We will pay your reparations because, like, we understand how your culture works, because, you know, we've been allies for many years at this point. And, you know, why don't we send some of our forces over there and we will, like, help discover the truth behind this? No, instead he got so offended by the dwarfs even, like, suggesting that he pay them reparations when he just literally viewed them as dirty mud people, that he ordered for the guards and of his court to seize the dwarf ambassadors and hold them down and brutally shave them against their will. So, which in dwarf culture, like, there is genuinely no greater sin than shaving a dwarf. Like, that is the most offensive possible thing you can think of. And those ambassadors ended up being the first ever dwarfs to take the Slayer Oath. And that's why dwarfs fucking hate elves. Well, it's a part of why. I mean, even for a human, if you were like someone that was extremely proud of your, like, you had been working really hard a lot of your life on, like, growing facial hair, and, like, you know, you had like a big magnificent beard, and someone, like, a group of people ganged up on you and held you down and shaved you, like, that would be fucking awful.
Halagam cheered. X100. Can you continue that story into a telling of the War of the Beard?
I will give a very brief overview.
X110. Isn't that a slow what started the War of the Beard?
It's what made the situation go from bad to way fucking worse for the War of the Beard, yes. Yeah, it definitely made shit hit the fan, so to speak. So the War of the Beard, so that happened, and the dwarf ambassadors were sent home, horribly shamed and shaved, and when they arrived home and High King Gotrek Starbreaker saw what happened, he was like, all right, like, there's no avoiding this now. This is happening. And a giant war broke out between the elves and the dwarfs. And the dwarfs, the thing the elves did not understand about the dwarfs is they did not understand how absolutely horrifically tenacious the dwarfs are. And because the elves felt so confident in their superiority, well, those of them that didn't know the dwarves that well, that they thought that, like, you know, this will be simple. Like, we'll show up, we'll fill them full of arrows, like, we'll fire a couple volleys, they'll freak out. Worst case scenario, we'll unleash the dragons and we win, you know, period, end of story. They did not realize that they were going up against a race that has spent, like, almost their entire existence fighting really fucking scary dragons, with zero fucks given. And they also did not really care about, like, any threats. there's a really famous quote about the elves when they were facing up against the dwarfs, where the elves were very accustomed to fighting like beastmen, greenskins, Northmen, like early humans, and the elves fired volleys of arrows. They've basically fired these volleys of arrows in an attempt to intimidate the dwarves and basically be like, hey, y'all need to back off. In one of the earliest engagements, when the dwarves came to attack one of the elven cities that was in the old world, because the elves used to control like pretty much all of Bretonnia, all the way to like where modern Marienburg is. So like Marienburg, all of this stuff in Bretonnia, all the way down Estalia and bits of Talea, like all of this shit used to belong to the elves, and was the elven colonies. And the elves, so when the dwarfs like finally had enough, the dwarfs came against them and started attacking these settlements. And at first, the elves, like, they tried to, like, spook them off with warning shots, essentially. Where they were like, oh, you know, just fire some, we'll just fire a bunch of arrows, and when the dwarves see how, like, amazingly accurate our shots are, and that we can literally aim these arrows so well and so precisely that, like, that the entire volley will land exactly in front of them, with, like, no space to spare. And it's going to be a pretty impressive, you know, show of our ability and skill. Well, it didn't go the way the elves expected, because what they thought the dwarves would do is that, you know, they'd fire the volley of arrows, it would land amongst the dwarves, and the dwarves go, holy shit, like, wow. Instead, the dwarves just, like, did not even remotely pause. Like, they just kept marching forward relentlessly without a goddamn care in the universe. And if anything, we're like, haha, they missed. But like, you know, the dwarfs were just like, up, shield wall. And basically anytime the elves would try something, the dwarves would respond very nastily, or just kind of keep pushing, even if the assault in particular was really rough for them. I should have fought that one. That would have been a fun fight. This one we'll skip. I'm looking more for army fights at this point. But it was an ugly war, though. Like, both the elves and the dwarves committed, like, horrible war crimes and atrocities against each other, because the fight was no longer just about, like, because it became very personal for both sides. And because it was so personal for them, both sides started doing some really, really, really awful shit to each other. Like, and, you know, nobody was giving quarter by the end of it. Like, the war got so ugly that the dragons just quit. Because the dragons are not slaves to the elves, they're partners. And the war reached a point where, like, so many of the dragons were dying or being, like, severely wounded that they just were like, enough. Like, we have no horse in this race. We do not care about this war. The only reason this war even exists is because both of you are being incredibly arrogant. And, like, we literally do not give a shit about this fight. Like, we're done. And the dragons went home. They legit quit and stopped fighting in the war, which was shocking to the elves. The elves that were very, very close to the dragons were not particularly surprised, but Calidor II, who was a petulant little shit, was extremely surprised at the idea that the dragons were, like, not doing as commanded, which caused no small amount of increased tension there. But, you know, in the end, Calidor II was killed by Gotrek Starbreaker in single combat, and that finally brought an end to the war. But after only, like, both empires had basically ripped each other out of one another's golden ages because the fighting was so horrible and vicious. It was not good. Very not good. Double tricks. Man, I fucking hate, like, I wish there were items that I could ban from getting. Ooh, Trickster's Helm. Okay, that's pretty nice. Why did my armor come off? Put my armor back on. Yeah, I'll take a Trickster's Helm. Boop. Can I get a lore fact about the Children of Ulrich? I read the first Gotrek and Felix book, and they seem to be able to transform into wolves, but contrary to Skin Wolves, it's not a curse, and they're definitely not Chaos aligned. Is there more about them? Yeah, Simon the Servant. There are little bits and pieces about them. We got them significantly more expanded upon in the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay series. They appeared quite famously in 2nd edition, but also showed up in more modernly in 4th edition. And the Children of Ulrich they are basically, like, you can almost think of them as like true werewolves, like true incarnations of that power. So the Children of Ulrich are they are creatures that are blessed by Ulrich on their birth. And being blessed by Ulrich, they have the ability to take on the form of wolves, because, you know, Ulrich is the wolf god. So they can take on wolves. They can transform at will. So they can transform into wolves or dog-like creatures. There's a character, if you are playing through like the recommended storyline for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, there is a essentially like a recommended character you can bump into who has the ability to he turns into a hound as opposed to a wolf. But they can turn into very large dogs or dog-like creatures, and they can also turn into a hybrid. So that it's like a full werewolf where it's like, you know, stands on 2 feet like a man, talks like a man, looks like a man, etc. But oh, Tehinuin! We got the prophet. Oh, hey, we found Oxiodal, who completely controls the vast majority of the chaos waste. What's up, dude? Let's be friends.
Ready.
We've got to hit her in. Now we're cooking. Where is he? Oh, hello. Level 27. He's got all of his items. All right, his skill tree is not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I'm gonna make an army out of you. I am going to need... What am I going to need? I need a super skink chief, first of all. Did no, skin wolves are completely unrelated from the Children of Ulrich. They are not remotely related in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Perish the thought. They are completely different entities and forces. The Children of Ulrich are blessed, well, Children of Ulrich. They are creatures and entities that have Ulrich's blessings, that have the ability to transform based on, you know, his designs. That being said, though, they are you can almost think of them as slightly more natural creatures. They are not at all like holy shit, if you have both Tehinuin's items, you get plus 10 to your Winds of Magic reserve. Damn. But yeah, they're not chaos related. You can almost kind of think of them as like mutants of Ulrich, which is why the Cult of Ulrich is not terribly fond of them, despite the fact that they bear the blessing of their god. From a political standpoint, the Cult of Ulrich is not fond of the Children of Ulrich, because they are like quote unquote unnatural creatures by all definitions. But they do have some really cool powers, though. Are Ulrich and Urson good bros? Their cults are, yes. The Cult of Urson and the Cult of Ulrich are allied. You could say they have a healthy rivalry that very, very rarely results in them fighting each other. Generally speaking, they tend to care a lot more. I mean, they just have a lot of overlap. Literally, the only difference between the two of them is that Ulrichans worship wolves instead of bears, and vice versa. All right, I think everybody's moved this turn. All right, and I am waiting for this tech to finish. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's make everyone that's in my territory take lots of damage. Grease's Goldtooth declaring war on me. That's very bold. Why do elves never go to war to get back the crown from the dwarves? Because the Phoenix crown is contained within the vaults of Karazakarak, and Karazakarak is probably the most impenetrable fortress on the face of the planet. Originally, when Kalidor II was killed, and the Phoenix crown was taken by the dwarfs, and like Gotrek Starbreaker was like, we're taking this in recompense for your bullshit. Initially, the where did that rat go? Oh no, where'd he go? Show me. Oh, he's down in, okay, he's down in the fog of war. But initially, they very much wanted to go to war to get it back. Like, they were like, oh, you know, many of the High Elves were basically gearing up for a war, to continue the war and get the crown back. But, the new king at the time, was not an idiot and realized that if they tried to go to Karazakarak and take it back by force, they were completely and utterly doomed. Like there just was not a realistic way they could afford that siege, especially when they literally had a entire invasion of dark elves kicking down their door and being like, hey, I'm here to murder you all. Because I mean, Malekith very specifically timed his invasion to take advantage of the War of the Beard. I mean, he's the one that caused the War of the Beard, so, you know, he very much was like, he timed his armies so that when Kalidor II left for the old world and he had like all his armies gathered with him, like he took the vast majority of Ulthuan's forces with him. That's when Malekith launched his invasion, because he knew that the island was relatively undefended. Which made that war a lot worse than it needed to be.
Are we officially an hour and 10 minutes from release? Other question. What three factions have always been the most unpopular in Warhammer Fantasy?
The most unpopular factions? The most unpopular factions in Warhammer Fantasy by like player base were Beastmen, Bretonnia, and let's see, Beastmen, Bretonnia, probably, and Tomb Kings. They were the least popular, and it wasn't because people didn't like them. Honestly, I think it's because Games Workshop stopped supporting them. Like Games Workshop just flat out stopped releasing army books for them. And between that and they weren't maybe quite as exciting as some of the other armies, I guess you could argue, people just didn't really get into them. And with no one really, it kind of turned into a vicious cycle where people weren't playing those armies because they weren't being supported, but because those armies, because nobody was playing those armies, they weren't being supported. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a really ugly catch-22.
Could you get someone like Alithana to steal it back?
I don't even think a Lithnar could break into Karragate Peaks undetected. But more importantly, I don't think he would be willing to do that because he doesn't care. Most of the High Elves, like the High Elves have tried to get back the Phoenix Crown using diplomacy. Like there have been a few times where they have politely asked for it back after like doing something. And the dwarves are always like, no. But you know, they've given it an honest shot a fair number of times. But it's not worth it to them. Like, I mean, they had a new one made. There was a new Phoenix Crown constructed or crafted. And I mean, a lot of the High Elves point out quite correctly, I will add, that honestly, Calor II shouldn't have been such an arrogant dickhead and worn it into combat. But all he cared about was like looking cool as opposed to, you know, being not an idiot.
1000. Then get a halfling called Bilbo Baggins.
We need a burglar. Thanks for the 1,000 bits, dude. Appreciate it. Nope. Oh shit, he caught me. That's annoying. That's all right. We'll get him back in a little bit. Not a big deal. Unfortunately, we kind of caught him at a bad moment because we're surrounded by rats.
100. So law seeker merch anytime soon? Sot think take my money.
Maybe. Stay tuned. Oh no, they stole the trickster shard. Whatever will I do?
Hunt down those lizard trinkets.
Oh my god, we finally caught Wolfheart. I'm gonna enjoy this. Sunday Spoon, thanks so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. Finally caught you, you son of a bitch. Chaka Diego, so there are two main factors. Number one, Malekith had put a lot of effort into hiding the fact that the Dark Elves were still alive. Many of the High Elves believed that the Dark Elves had basically been exterminated after the Sundering. They thought that they had, after they had lost, after they had lost the Sundering, the Malekith worked very, very hard to rebuild his strength in secret, and he used a lot of sorcery and powerful magics and clever tactics to hide the fact that the Dark Elves were still alive and doing well. So many of the High Elves arrogantly believed that the Dark Elves had basically limped off to Nagaroth, which was a fairly unexplored land, but they knew it was like incredibly hostile. And like you can't farm you could barely farm shit there. And like it's not a good place to live. It's very not conducive to a civilization. So the High Elves genuinely believed that the Dark Elves were basically exterminated. Like there were a lot of rumors coming to Ulthuan that Malekith had died, and that he was, you know, he wasn't around anymore. So they thought Malekith was dead and that the Dark Elves were basically just living out their last remaining few years before they would inevitably die out, and that was, you know, that would be the end of it. But Malekith was hiding his power in secret and was just waiting for an opportunity, and it presented itself. Well, he created the opportunity because he ushered in the War of Vengeance. And with the War of Vengeance, the High Elves fought a war that was extremely costly. And with that incredibly costly war, they very much overextended themselves, because you have to remember that they weren't fighting in their homeland, they were fighting in their colonies. So they had to constantly keep like shipping people over to go help with this conflict. because the dwarves were fighting on their home turf. Like for the dwarves, getting to the elven colonies was fairly easy, but for the elves, showing up in any notable amount of force with like their more elite troops and units was much more difficult. So when the war just kept dragging and dragging and dragging and dragging, Calor II finally had enough. The first time he went to the old world, he actually fought Snorri Halfhand, who was Gotrek Starbreaker's son, and was also a pretty notable instigator of the war. But upon fighting, he kills Snorri Halfhand. So he kills the High King's son, and when the High King's son is killed by Calidor believed, all right, that was it. Like I've killed the Prince of the Dwarfs. This will shatter their morale. I'm very irritated that I had to leave my marble palace to come down here and deal with this. So I am now going to go back to Ulthuan, and I expect my armies to finish this war. But that's not what happened, because obviously when you kill a dwarf prince, that tends to make the dwarves significantly more angry. So High King Gotrek Starbreaker got heavily involved in the conflict, whereas before he had been kind of looking for ways to end it another way, like a more peaceful way. But after that, he was like, all right, fuck it, like, let's go. So when Calidor kept getting reports that not only was the war continuing to drag, but now the Hyles were losing, and they were constantly being pushed back, and they were just like losing a massive amount of ground. He finally had enough, and Calidor decided he was going to deal with it once and for all. So he invaded with everything he had to wipe out the dwarfs. Hey, Dumb Mongoose, thanks so much for the 5 gifted. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. He didn't understand how dwarfs work? No, he didn't. He didn't care. Hey, Gorda's Backstabber. This is a potential legendary lord for the Chaos Dwarfs. He's a hobgoblin special character for the Chaos Dwarfs. Good old Gorda's Backstabber. Alright, that's Wolfheart crushed for now. And of course, Itza is about to be under attack again. Jesus Christ. Yeah, start working on scouting so I can get more items. More items, please. Nakai actually wants you to go to Flayed Rock. I am very interested in annihilating the forces of Nurgle once and for all. Any good books on the War of the Beard? Yeah, there's a whole trilogy. There's a trilogy of novels called The War of Vengeance, which is about the War of the Beard, because that's what the elves, that's what the dwarves call it. The dwarves call it the War of Vengeance. The elves call it the War of the Beard, which is, the War of the Beard is considered a not as tactful name for the conflict, because it kind of like, it's sort of, because obviously it's referencing the ensuing incident being the whole beard shaving thing, and it's considered kind of poor taste to refer to it like that. The dwarves in particular do not like the name of War of the Beard. They find it very not okay. Chaos Zabos, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Red Host. I hope you enjoy your time with us, however long that may be. Wait, why can't I? What? Why can I not select the Sword of the Hornet? That's very strange. Huh, weird. Let's see. We can combine both of these. Got another fucking Trickster Shard. Why am I getting so many Trickster Shards, chat? I don't want these. They displease me immensely. Let's switch to Hinuin's item. I think this is a better item for a Slong because it lets him have a more active item roll.
Joins the red host.
Billy Byrne, thanks so much for the Prime sub. If you're new to our community, be sure you join our Discord. There's a lot of cool stuff going on these days in the Discord community, and if you're a sub, you get access. Make sure you link your Discord and your Twitch account because you'll get access to some cool secret sections. Hooray!
Peasant! Peasant!
You're a fucking peasant, bitch. Okay, I want this Stegadon War Spear. We could combine both of these. Get a blue item. My third Trickster's Helm. I won't say no to it, but you know, a little variety would be nice. Okay, let's see. Do I have any good enchanted items? Make you unbreakable temporarily. Not really. Oh, we can combine these.
Happy Pig 329 cheered. X100.
Hi to the cold ones.
I just woke up. How many hours ago did we lose the Nakai outfit?
I don't know. It's been a little while, but I wore it for a long time. Shit was hot. Too hot. Okay, we'll put you in the Trickster's Helm. And then I want... Where's the skink? This skink chief? Steve Irwin. Yes, good old Steve Irwin. We're gonna give him the Stegadon War Spear because he's on a Stegadon now. That's a nice buff. Yeah, that works. All right. Okay, Mazda Mundi's got Spectazuma under control, so why don't you head inland? Then you're heading for the Golden Colossus. Good. Then you're gonna head up into the mountains. I don't really have a job for you, dude. You can kill that ogre or something. Where is our skink boy? There he is. Well, if she's not going to take Nanli, I will take Nanli. I don't want it sitting empty because it's going to just spread chaos corruption everywhere. Who is this? Oh, you. Okay. Yeah, let's get Fosi. Let's do Fosi. Morbius. Go Morb. Oh, I failed to Morb. That's okay. How are things for dwarves during the Golden Age? I mean, it was the Golden Age, so pretty good, I would say. Oh, shit. I was supposed to kill that character. Whoops. That's right. The Khalad's Angkor was invulnerable during the Golden Age. Like, the idea of a hold actually being successfully sacked was considered completely impossible. Because all of the holds were connected by the Ungrin, which is the underway, or the underground roads. And since they were, like, in mint condition, they were so well forged, or crafted, that, like, nothing could burrow into them. And since nothing could burrow into them... the dwarfs were able to use them with impunity, so they could trade and reinforce one another through these underground routes without ever being exposed to like the open like air, so to speak. So like they didn't have to worry about like, oh, one of our holds is under siege. All right, well, you know, all the holds next to it are going to send entire throngs that are going to be able to march uninterrupted and unbothered all the way up to whoever's under siege and like just kind of effortlessly, you know, deal with it. Another trickster shard. Oh joy. Hopefully we can catch Kugoth before he leaves here. I would very much like for him to die. Or this way. Him. Let's get that bonus campaign movement up and running again. We can grab a few more blessed proxigors. Where have the Azrae fought the furthest from Athel Loren? Oh, that's really difficult to say. The Azrae, the Wood Elves are pretty fond of just sort of like appearing where they're needed. Basically, they keep track of a concept. They keep track of the balance of the world, which is basically a system known as the Weave. And the Weave very much allows the Weave is what helps the Elves kind of maintain that connection to all of the various like forces of nature and make sure everything stays in balance. And that is, they're obsessed with the Weave and making sure that the Weave is constantly like in a good place and under control and nothing like super awful is happening. But whenever they sense like something pulling or disrupting the Weave, which is just like the natural cycle of nature, they'll fucking go find it and root it out. Like, no, it doesn't really matter where it is. You could very easily argue that the Wood Elves have appeared everywhere at some point, and you would not be wrong. Did Azazel and Sigmar fight even after Azazel ascended? Yes, there was a very famous showdown between Sigmar and Azazel when Azazel had become the full Demon Prince Azazel, and Sigmar was very close to the end of his rule, so when he would leave the Empire and ascend to godhood, and Sigmar kicked the shit out of him. Sigmar, like, they had an epic battle, but Sigmar ultimately defeated him and cast him into like a big chasm. He just chucked him down there, and then he threw a bunch of boulders on top of him, which basically sealed Azazel in. Like, Azazel couldn't get out, and since Azazel wasn't dead, he wasn't able to just be, you know, re-manifest himself in the realm of chaos. He was literally stuck, and since he was stuck, he was trapped there, and he actually was sealed away there for quite a while before Slaanesh finally bothered to send some additional forces that attacked where Azazel was imprisoned and busted him out, which I'm sure was very embarrassing for good old Azazel. Lustria will be mine. I'm trying really hard to get us to the long campaign victory before Immortal Empires drops and we're done for the day. How is this agent so fast? He's like hilariously outrunning all of my characters. Like, I am like way the fuck behind him. Take it on. This Lord Croak. Let's get
Jitten Higgy Witted cheered. X100. What's the most interesting interaction between the Lizardmen and High Elves?
I mean, the most interesting interaction from a perspective of like, depends on what you mean by interesting. The most notable, like the most important interaction between the two of them was the incident. Oh, good, Nurgle's dead. Was the incident where the High Elves first arrived in Lustria. When the High Elves first arrived in Lustria after the Great Cataclysm, you know, they started exploring the world and everything. They actually made their way onto the jungle continent. They started to explore it, and they were like fascinated by it, and they really started pushing pretty heavily into the inner jungles. And the Lizardmen weren't really sure what to do about it. They kind of started bugging one of the Slaawn and trying to wake him up, but he wouldn't wake up because he was in a very, very deep slumber. And since he wouldn't wake up, the skinks kind of had to decide for themselves what to do. And so the skinks ended up deciding, all right, we're not gonna mess with them. Like we're not gonna talk to them. We're not gonna help them. We're just gonna let them be and see what happens. So they just kind of watched them for a while, but eventually they managed to kind of get the Slaawn to wake up, and he basically said, bring them here. Like, bring them before me so I could see them. And they were like, all right. And this was Lord Huintenukli, I believe. And the problem with Lord Huintenukli at this point was that he was very delirious, because he had actually just fought a massive battle against a very, very powerful greater demon of Slaanesh. And while he had been victorious, he had been pretty heavily wounded in the fight. And so he was still recovering from this, from that showdown. So because he was still recovering, the skinks were like, all right, you know, let's go get him. So they went and met the elves and were like, made contact with them. And the skinks could, of course, speak their language because they learned language from the Lizardmen in the first place. So the Lizardmen were like, all right, y'all gotta come with us. And the skinks and Saurus and whatever guided them back to, I believe they were brought to the temple city of Tlonk. They were either brought to Tlonksha or Slonhapek. I want to say it was Tlonksha, but or Tloxlon. But they were, or was it Tlonksla? It was one of these. But in any event, so they were brought before the Slaawn, and he sort of like, and like there was a whole parade. Like the Lizardmen weren't 100% sure what the Slaan's reaction were going to be, but they were thinking it was going to be overly positive, because they were like, all right, you know, it's like, you know, these other guys, you know, these people, this race we basically helped raise has come home to us and has come to see us after the, you know, the fall of the old ones and all that shit, and we're still trying to figure out what's going on. So the Lizardmen like gave them like a full big performance when they showed up to the city. It was this whole thing, and the elves got to like really enjoy the full splendor of a temple city, rolling out the full red carpet for them.
Would Lord Mazdamundi be able to defeat Kairos Fateweaver in a spell duel?
Yes, but it would be a very intense affair. It would not be easy for Mazdamundi, but I do believe he would defeat Kairos. Anyway, so the High Elves, you know, they came into the city. It was, you know, it was parade, all this other shit, and they're brought with great pomp and circumstance before Lord Huintenukli, who is not really awake. You know, he's kind of in and out, and like the elves are brought before him, and they just kind of stand there. They're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting. And you know, Slaawn are notoriously slow. They're not in a rush at the best of times. So you know, he didn't respond to their presence at all for a minute, and one of the skinks was finally like, boss, hey boss, like they're here. And he was like, what? And there's a rather humorous note that when the skinks basically poke him a few times, he wakes up, but the first thing that he says to the skinks don't really record because they didn't like fully catch what he said. But there is a note from the skinks perspective that what he said was undeniably like offensive, because he did not appreciate them disturbing him. But they were like, you know, the elves are here. That you know, you wanted them brought before you. They're here. And he finally kind of focuses on them, and he's quiet for a really long time. And then Lord Huntanukli finally says, like he finally says something, and the skinks all start freaking out, like kind of deciphering what he said, because the Slan don't speak typical Saurian. They speak, like, I wouldn't call it so much a dialect. Well, I guess I would call it a dialect, but the way they speak, it takes like interpretation. It's usually not super easy to like immediately know what a Slan said. So the skinks are kind of like, oh, there's an ad? Okay, I'll wait. It's fine. Not a biggie. Stop running away, Ricard, you little bitch. Oh, I need to go. I guess I should go south after Croesus. I think Quitax is his last settlement, so let's make for there. And you can head south to keep an eye on things down here. Yeah, sure. Summon another army. The armies are not totally useless. They have their part to play.
Eshin_1147
Hey, Kalita's still alive.
100. Don't you have telepathy?
Oh, you're at war with Tlaqua? Oh, we can't be friends. I'm sorry. I wanted to be friends, but we can't. You are not fond of me right now.
The goddess will.
Hey, baby steps. Don't Slan have telepathy? They do have telepathy, but the Slan very rarely use telepathy to speak words. Usually if a Slan is using telepathy on you, you're not going to get words. You're going to get like flashes of images. And the Slan have a very alien form of thinking, even to other Lizardmen. It can be very difficult to understand what they're thinking.
100. Quintex is called an ancient city. To whom did it belong before Marathi moved in?
We have no idea. The ancient city of Quintex belonged to somebody, but there are a lot of cities scattered across the Warhammer world, especially in what is now the Chaos Waste and Nagaroth, that we have genuinely zero idea who the original inhabitants were. They were species or armies that, like, wait, nobody knows. It's completely lost to time. Like, a good example is that Malekith's crown, the crown of iron that he wears. He looted that from a city that he found in the Chaos Waste, but we have literally zero idea who made it. Anyway, back to the story. So, the elves are brought before the Slan, and he finally wakes up and, like, notices them. And he thinks for a good minute, before finally saying something. And he says something, and the skinks kind of debate over what he said. And it's critical to understand that the skinks had to interpret what he said, because there is a possibility the skinks misinterpreted it. Not in the sense that they, like, got it wrong, but in the sense that they might have missed the what they ended up agreeing on. Being what he said may not have been, they may have gotten like the very fine tuning of what he said a little bit off, if that makes sense. So they debate for a little bit, and the thing that they end up mutually agreeing on, or the most senior priest says that he said, is that the skink points at the high elves and says that Lord Huantonikli said they should not be here. Which is accurate. Like, they shouldn't be there. Now, what exactly he meant by they should not be here, who knows? But the moment he said that, all of the temple guard that were around the elves kind of immediately move a little bit, And the thing is that when the skink like openly said they should not be here, he said it in a language that the elves he said it in the elves' own language. So like they understood what the skink said. So they hear this skink suddenly say they should not be here, and all of the temple guard kind of like crowd in on the elves a little bit, sort of in response to what the skink was saying. They don't attack the elves, but they do sort of crowd in on them a little bit. And in that moment, the elves freak, and they basically reach for their weapons. They don't draw their weapons, but they reach for their weapons because they're afraid. And the second they reach for their weapons, they fucked up, because the moment their hands like make that aggressive movement, the temple guard decide, nope, you're fucked. And the temple guard immediately just start butchering them. And so all absolute fucking mayhem breaks out, because like both sides, it's not clear from either side. Like the Lizardmen think the High Elves fucked up, and the High Elves think the Lizardmen fucked up. So the Lizardmen are now incensed because they think a fight is on, especially, and like one of the only remaining second generation Slawn has just potentially been threatened. So the Lizardmen just start going all out on these High Elves, and the High Elves had to do this horrible fighting retreat from the city and basically fight their way back out into the jungle and make their way back to the coast. And the whole time they're being harassed by the Lizardmen. Eventually they make it back to the coast, and they manage to flee back into their ships and escape Lustria and head back to Ulthuan. But by the time the ship returns, and they're able to get one of the survivors in front of the Phoenix King, which was it was Phoenix King Belshazzar. There was only one survivor, which was the captain. He was the only one left, and he was like incredibly sick. He was like deeply he had like a horrible fever. He wasn't really at all cognizant very well of what was going on around him, and through his like debilitating illness and, you know, the fact that he was dying, he explains to the Phoenix King what happened, and Belshazzar listens to the story and decides that they have no business. The elves have no business being in Lustria. It's too dangerous. So he basically issues a decree. He issues a decree to say that the elves are never to go into the jungles of Lustria. They can hang around the coastline. You know, they can be around the coastline and do stuff there, but under no circumstances are they ever to go into the jungle itself. They are to leave the Lizardmen alone and not disturb them, because it's too dangerous to do anything else. Which, you know, not ideal for a first meeting between those two races after the fall of after the defeat of the demons. Not exactly how you want that to go down. Ooh, disciplined. Yes, please. And I will also get a... What was the other one? Aggressive? Yes, good. Bring on the skinks. Alright, well, we're getting Tehinuan set up. Yeah, I think we need more armies in Lustria more than anything else. We are going to hire, at long last, a Kruxgor Ancient. Finally. Oh, wait. This gives me +2 recruit ranks for Kruxgor Ancient. I have to wait 4 turns? Yeah, that's fine. Are Zote servants literally Zotes? Yes. A Zote servant is a Zote. It's just a Zote.
Eshin_Revan47 cheered. X100. So how should the plaque be held?
Like this. You hold it from the side. Brace it against your body a little bit. You either hold it directly on the side, or you could hold it a little bit lower on the side. But have you ever tried to hold a big heavy fucking thing like this? What kind of animator does this? Try and hold like get yourself like a good dictionary, because like it's a stone plaque, right? And like you're trying to hold it like this, like fucking bullshit, dude. No way. No way. Not only does it look dumb, but it just doesn't work. The Hunch Marshal's expedition has been wiped out. Oh, goody. Focus my efforts now on the Bretonnians and the vampires. Well, I don't want to fight the Bretonnians just yet.
Filth stands before me.
Oh wait, will I not get in trouble for declaring war on you? Well, we won't do it just yet. You're an easy kill. Don't want to spoil the hunt. Let's focus on the vampires for now. Two more levels, and he gets a finger exercises. I don't give a fuck how strong you are, dude. That ain't working. I don't give a shit how strong you are. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Horn of Kygor. Don't I have a Crown of Command? Yes, I do. Combine those. Sword of Bloodshed. Man, I would really fucking love some like blue talismans, maybe. God damn. Listen, the fuse item system is good, but it pisses me off. It genuinely annoys the fuck out of me that it does not give you like the same item type as the two items you combined. Like that would be such a nice change. Like if I combine two weapons, I should get a weapon. Even like a random weapon, sure, but I should still get a weapon. If I combine two enchanted items, I should get an enchanted item. Like I fucking hate when you're like combining items and you just keep getting like the same shit you already have a billion of. Like I don't need any more blue weapons. I got plenty of blue weapons.
It's a qua, it's a nuet.
Right. Tehilwyn, why don't you follow me over here? Why is Nakai too big for the detail screen? I have no idea. It's goofy as shit, though I do think it looks hilarious. Oh, I have a bunch of lore facts. Let's see. So I answered that one. Where on the power ladder would I place a fully Galleon's Graveyard empowered Noctilus? Full Galleon's Graveyard empowered? Noctilus is much more equivalent to like a demigod. Like he's like just below Nagash, barely just below Nagash, when he had the fully powered Galleon's Graveyard behind him. Like he was literally immortal. He couldn't be killed. He had to be fought in the Galleon's Graveyard so that there would at least be a chance of seizing it away from him. Like that's how fucking insanely strong he was. Less than 30 minutes, chat. Less than 30 minutes before your journey with me ends and your journey into Immortal Empires begins. Are y'all excited? I hope you're excited. He's that powerful? I mean, he's okay powerful. The Galleon's Graveyard is that fucking... Oh, Talisman of Preservation. It's not so much that Noctilus is that strong, it's that the fucking Galleon's Graveyard is that strong.
Peasant! Peasant!
What victory are we at? We are working our way towards the long victory. We've done everything, but I have to control literally all of Lustria, which is kind of a bullshit, kind of a bullshit long victory. I'm gonna be honest. Like that is painfully long.
Put down those lizard trinkets.
Especially because he starts on like the other side of the planet. Not my favorite victory conditions, I'm gonna be honest. Wah. Ah, if it is an Emmerich of Calidor.
A moment can be spared, but no more.
I would like us to be friends, maybe. I don't know. Are you at war with the dwarfs? No, but you're at war with Khalida. I kind of want to be friends with Khalida, not you. You weird dragon humper.
Asap smiles on.
Wait, Sinhanastrichu. Thank you very much for the tip.
And who do you think it will be?
I can't decide which faction to play for the start. Help! Exclamation. Wait. What's the command? Exclamation mark. Campaign. I think. We have a bot command that will randomize a. It'll randomize a faction for you. It'll tell you who to play. There it is. Exclamation mark WH3 campaign. There you go. But like give the bot a sec to breathe, guys. Guys, don't guys. Nightbot can only do so much at once, okay? Don't fucking please don't drown Nightbot to death. For all that's good and holy. Let him breathe. Have we moved everybody? Oh, you can still move some more. Let's head over this way. The bot's gonna unalive. I was gonna say the bot's gonna implode. All right. Gorok? Yeah, okay. Everybody's moving.
G Baby Barker cheered. X200. Cheers for this round.
Who do I think the 100th legendary lord will be? Nagash. It's either going to be Nagash or Thankful. I'm calling it now.
Eshard here _Thalion cheered. X100. Please don't dead name the bot. Brandon renamed him to Grudge Bot.
With whose permission? What? Rename my bot. There's Lord Skrolk. We should go pay him a visit. Who's Thankful? Oh, dude. Thankful is like the best Skaven character there is. He's absolutely hysterical. Oh. Alright, this is actually kind of a fight.
Eshin _Revan47 cheered. X100. Okay. Who do you think the 98th legendary lord will be?
Oh, I don't fucking know. I'm not guessing that. Where are we at now? That's maybe I will guess at it. What number are we at now? I missed your lore fact? No, I didn't. It's just it's sitting on my thing here. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I have a lot of money. That'll be a fun fight. 86.
Venator 501 ST cheered. X100. It's almost time.
It is almost time. I would guess the 98th Lord is gonna be... I'll take a shot in the dark. I bet the 98th Lord is gonna be... Epidemius. That's my called shot. Warrior's Crest. Okay, we can get Jungle Patrol. Extra movement. Campaign replenishment and captives. Dexterous Warrior, which buffs us and our skinks, or Temple Builder, which is fucking useless. Yeah, I'll go Dexterous Warrior. Want this guy to be a military badass. If when Nagash comes back, which undead faction would he be? He's gonna be his own. I'm pretty sure he would be his own. He would probably be Undead Legions, which is gonna be something unique. I'm so tired. I don't know if I have it in me to fight this. Actually, I do have it in me, but we're gonna want siege towers for this. The dude's got a lot of Skaven on top of all of his rats. This I can fight, because this will just be a fucking... This is gonna be an assload of ogres versus an assload of Kroxigors. It's a Chungus fight. Let's see. What are the beliefs of the Wood Elves, and why do they split with the rest of the... Oh, gosh. So the reason the... Oh, man. All elves worship the exact same pantheon. The Wood Elves is slightly different. They all worship... They have... all elves have what's called a mandala, so they have this, like, chart thing that represents the importance of their deities.
We've finally made it. Thanks for all you do. Love your lore videos, and this stream has been a blast.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that y'all have had a lot of fun. I am nearing my wit's end. I will say I'm actually really glad I started late yesterday. I do not think I could have made it 24 hours. I feel relatively confident saying I would not have made it. But luckily we started late, so I did end up making it. For however long. How long have we been streaming? It's unfortunate that we're not going to get the long campaign victory before the end of the stream. There's just no way. We still have a lot of territory to take in Lustria. I wasted too much time conquering Cathay. I needed to be focused on I need to be focused. So we'll finish this campaign another day. 16 hours? Fuck, dude. That's a long time. Kill the ogres! Meanwhile, stealth music plays. "24-hour stream isn't healthy." That's true. I would very, very, very much like to do a subathon one day, but the tricks to subathons is that you can sleep during them. Like, you literally just leave your stream on, and you do the sleeping category, and you literally just go to sleep. So you don't have to stay awake the entire time. Or alternatively, I think one of the other strategies that's like common is that you just stop the timer when you stop streaming. And you, like, you know, you go to bed and stuff, and then when you wake up and get back to it, you turn the timer back on, stuff like that. A Sotek sleep stream win? I don't know. To me, I mean, sleep streams to me feel much more like a VTuber thing as opposed to like a real, a flesh tuber. as I have as I dubbed thyself. What do I know? You have to sleep on camera? Well, I'd probably just pause the stream. I don't know. Oh, look out, skinks. Ogres want to fight? All right, ogres, let's fight. Chloe, get him. Don't just stand there, dinguses, go. Let's see if I can get some action shots here. You gonna do something? Thank you. Ooh. Literally just big chunkuses versus big chunkuses. With blood and guts flying everywhere, and the occasional skink flying into view. Hey, bigger chungus, come here. Come on, get that big ass over here. Ogres meet mouth. They'll have fun. All right, gotta go check back on this side. Summon more Razordons. I don't know if Comet's gonna do that much to these ogres, but I guess we'll find out. Meteor! Oh, yeah, okay, that is pretty okay damage. Summon tornadoes! Boing, 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 boing. I love free damage. It's delicious. These Gorgers fighting to the last man is super annoying. Kill the tyrant. Summon some Razordons behind these guys. Hello. Open fire! Goddamn fling nobblers. Primeval roar! Skinks, get good at fighting! More spells, more spells, more spells, more spells. Can't have too many spells, chat. It's not a thing. Kind of sick of y'all. Teleporting in bonus dinosaurs is always super fun. Onwards! Alright, we through here? Alright. You, and, you. Oh, you. Go this way. Razordon's back here. Hey, Aztec! Thanks so much for the 8 months, dude. Appreciate it, brother. Alright, we just gotta kill the gorgers. Gotta find the gorgers. Literally be anywhere. There's some over here. Red Saurian! Where are you? Fetch!
Little to no interest in Warriors of Chaos DLC, but said, do you think I should buy it just to support Immortal Empires future updates?
I mean, that's up to you, man. Like, I would just wait for it to be on a good discount. I wouldn't worry about it right now. I would wait until later and get it on a really, like, if you're like, I'm not really interested in playing this, I just want to support the devs. I mean, if you're just like, I don't give a shit about like spending a few bucks, I just want to support the devs at full price, then go for it. I think that's great. It's, you know, nothing wrong with that by any means of the imagination. That's very good. It's super lovely to be supportive of them. If you like what they do and you want to see more of it. But if you're like, I want to own the content, but I'm not interested in playing it right now, well, then I would wait until it's like super on sale. It's up to you. It kind of depends on what your goal is. Ten minutes, and the gates to Valhalla shall open. 10 measly minutes. Ooh, nice, level 20. Have a nice day after the stream. Thank you. Well, I gotta take Chloe to the vet literally as soon as I'm done here. Hopefully it goes well. See what happens. Can I get bonus growth? Yes, plus 10 horde growth to all armies. Okay, let's activate that. You know what, chat? I think for the remainder of the stream, since there's only 10 minutes left, I think we're just gonna kind of hang out. I think we're just gonna chat, you know, bask in the
Peasant! Peasant!
bask in the hype, in the excitement, in the glory.
Cheered. X300.
Fuck me, dude.
Thank you for the amazing stream. Fitting end to weeks of great content.
Well, thank you. None of this would have mattered if y'all hadn't been here. I'm gonna get through the last of these lore facts. I'm gonna go ahead and pause redeems because I'm gonna start preparing us for the end here. I'm gonna send back lore points.
Trinkets.
All right. Actually, man, some of these I won't probably be able to do in 10 minutes, but I will hit the ones that I can. You want a timer on stream? Ooh, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah. Oh, I'll let you know how it goes. I think we're, you know what?
That he knew. He fucked up.
Yeah, I did fuck up. I'm so tired.
Cursed Sotek spawn.
Less than 3. Good luck today.
Dark Raven, hey, thank you, appreciate it. OBS Strado has a timer tab, does it? I don't know, I've never used it.
IT's almost finally here. IT's finally ghost in time. Sot dude, 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 sot dude.
That was a lot of dudes. 6 minutes. I'm not gonna bother with the rest of the lore facts either. I'll send back your points. We'll do more lore. We'll probably do like just a super hardcore lore stream very, very soon. How does one get started in AOS tabletop as a complete beginner? I would recommend finding a local hobby store with people that you can kind of like play games with and get to know it. I would start by picking up the core rulebook. Familiarize yourself with like the stories. Find a faction you think looks really, really cool. Or if you already have a faction that you're in love with and you love the way they look and you're like, I want to play these guys. Then there's usually start collecting boxes for almost every faction. What is Total War streaming? Oh, they're just like streaming random people. Okay, it's whatever. Are Skaven inherently evil? Yeah, I would say so. 4 minutes 25 seconds. Hot damn. Less than 5 minutes, chat. Can we watch the fan-made IE trailer? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Oh god, I don't know if I can find it. Whoa! That's the last WoW. That is the final WoW before Immortal Empires comes out. Isn't that crazy? Schmuck Nugget, thanks so much for the tier 1 sub. Immortal Empires fan trailer? You got the update? Yeah, Kitsune, I saw it. Ah, yes, here it is. Good. This is about roughly the same time. You got the update. You better go. You better go.
Another wretched foul lizard thing joins the red host.
It's been an honor, gentlemen. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. I hope you all enjoy the new world that you're entering into. Nightfather, thanks so much for the 2 months of Prime, or 3 months. Teams are updating now. This video is by Engaging Bear. 19 gigs? Not too bad. Is the new DLC worth it? Yes. It is very worth it. Restart your Steam if it hasn't started updating, chat says. I'm so excited for you guys. I am so deeply excited for you all. Yeah, restart Steam. If y'all don't have the download, restart Steam. Wait, no, right? Yeah. Put an honor, folks. Begin your journey. Have a great day, guys. I'll post the link. See y'all on the other side. Yeah, I'll post the link in chat. I'm not gonna bother raiding anybody. There's lots of people streaming. If you want to go find it, I'm too lazy to raid. I'm so tired. I don't want to deal with like trying to figure out who to raid. So go find people. I'm out of here. Thank y'all so much. It's been a blast. 16 exhausting hours streaming this Nakai campaign. We made it through the night. I have to go take care of stuff. So thank you all. And I'll see. You know what? I'll raid someone I like. So if y'all want to stick around and watch something completely unrelated for some reason, feel free to join the raid. I'm going to go raid a buddy of mine. But in any event, I'll see you guys. Goodbye.